In this video, I'm looking at trying to put the trend line onto the scatter plot and then working out the equation of the trend line. So the trend line for this is evidently linear, as it has a rather strong linear correlation. And so what we want to do is try and place a trend line on this and then work out the equation of that straight line. So to work out the placement of the trend line, we have to try and figure out a line that goes through the center of this data, trying to get most of the data to be equally distanced on either side of it. So you want about the same number of points on the top side of the line as on the bottom side of the line, and you want to try and get all the points that are equally displaced from either side. So we're looking at a line that's going to come somewhere down through the middle here, and I'm going to see if I can get that a bit better than that. But that's not a bad line. We've got 3 points above, 4 points below. Oh, that one's sort of above. These two are directly on it. So I'm going to try and draw my line a bit better, and then we'll see how we go from there. So we're wanting to have a line that's going to go, say, down around about there. Okay, so we want to try and find the equation of this line. And that will give us a rule that we can use, that if we're given a number of tickets sold, we know approximately what kind of revenue we're going to have. So to work out an equation of a straight line, we can start off with the basic equation of a straight line, which is y is equal to mx plus c, where c is the y-intercept, or the y-coordinate of the y-intercept, and m is the slope of the line, which is given to us by y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, also known as rise over run. So we want to use this to try and calculate our line. So we can't see on this graph where the y-intercept is, because the line goes down here where we've lost our y-axis. So we will have to use a different technique to try and find our y-intercept than just looking it off the graph, reading it off the graph. So let's first try and find our slope. Okay, so our slope, we need 2 points. So thankfully our line passes through 2 useful points. We have this one here, which looks like its coordinate is 300 and 6,000. So we have that. That's a nice useful point for us. And the graph also comes through this, crossing on a good line here. So we have this one here, which is 400, and the that looks like 8,500. So that's the coordinate of those 2 points that we're going to use for this. So if we have, if we remember the fact that this is xy, this will be, I'm going to call this point 2, and I'm going to call this point 1. So we're going to have y2, which is 8,500, minus y1, which is 6,000, divided by x2, which is 400, minus x1, which is 300. So we're going to have a slope of 2,500 over 100, so we have a slope of 25. So that gives us the slope of the line. So we're going to currently have an equation of a line which says that y is equal to 25x, and then some unknown value c. So now all we need to do is try and work out what c is. Now to work out c, we can use one of our 2 points to try and work out what c is, because we have an xy value, or in fact we have 2 xy values that will satisfy this equation if we get the correct value for c. So we can use this fact to help us find c by substituting. So we're going to substitute the coordinate, one of these 2 coordinates. I'm going to use the 3,600 coordinates. So I'm going to substitute 3,600 into my equation. So I'm going to substitute it into that. So I'm going to have 6,000 is going to be equal to my 25x, which is then going to be times by my 300. And then we're going to go and have plus c. And so this will hopefully give us c. Well, it will give us c because it's the only unknown left. So we just need to now work this out. So we're going to have 6,000 is going to be equal to, well, 25 times 300. So 25 times 300 is 7,500, so 7,500. And then we've just got our plus c on the end. Okay, so now to work out c, I'm going to take off the 7,500 from both sides. So I'm going to have my 6,000. So 6,000 minus my 7,500 is going to be c. Oh no, before we have c, we're going to have the 7,500 plus c minus 7,500. So if we now work this out, 6,000 minus 7,500 is negative 1,500, which is going to be equal to, well, these two 7,500s are going to cancel out, so that's just going to leave me with my c value. So now I've got my equation of my line, which is y is equal to 25 as my slope x plus, no, minus now because we've got a negative c value, so minus 1,500. So I'm going to use a point that I've got close to a value here. So 200 tickets multiplied by 25 is 5,000. Minus of 1,500 should give me 3,500. That's 3,500. That's rather close. So I can see the fact that if I have a number of tickets that I'm expecting to sell, I can predict what my approximate revenue is going to be.